Listen closely. If you spend the next 90 days focusing solely on yourself, no drama, no social media noise, no endless comparisons, your life will transform in ways you can't yet imagine. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You don't need a clean slate or a special sign from the universe. You only need to begin. Start today. Not because it's easy. Not because you're ready. But because each day you delay is one more day you drift from the person you were meant to be. And here's the quiet truth. It all begins with one small, intentional act. Just one. Done today. Repeated tomorrow. Lived for 90 days with steadiness, not perfection. That's how real change happens. Not with noise, but with presence. Not by force, but through quiet, deliberate choices that begin to rebuild your rhythm from the inside out. 1. Start your 90-day journey like your life depends on it. Because it does. Let's be honest. If you're still waiting for the perfect time, you've already lost. No one is coming to save you. No magical right moment is about to appear. No external event will ever feel exactly right for you to finally move forward. And that's the trap most men fall into. They wait. Wait for a sign. Wait for confidence. Wait until they feel ready. Wait until it's easier, or less scary, or more convenient. But here's the truth, raw and unfiltered. The longer you wait, the further you drift away from who you're meant to become. What if you committed, truly committed, to 90 days of raw, unapologetic focus on yourself? Not to please anyone. Not to prove anything. Not for applause. But for you, for the man you know you're capable of being when you silence the noise and go all in. 90 days. That's all. Not forever, just a chapter. But it could be the chapter that rewrites the whole damn book. This is the invitation. Stop explaining your stagnation. Stop defending your excuses. Stop numbing your potential with distractions. You say you're tired of being stuck? Prove it. You say you want more? Act like it. Because here's what no one tells you, the cost of not starting isn't just time wasted. It's the erosion of your own self-trust. Every day you don't follow through on your potential, a small part of you stops believing that you ever will. That stops today. Right now, you start showing up like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Let's make it real. Start by setting your 90-day timeline. Choose one area of your life that needs to change: health, money, focus, discipline. Write one small action you will take today. And then, you do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. No massive transformations. Just micro wins stacked daily until the man in the mirror becomes undeniable. This isn't motivation. This is war against the version of you that keeps settling. You don't need permission. You need decision. And once you decide, the momentum begins. So here's your challenge. 90 days. Laser focus. Total ownership. No excuses. Start small. Start messy. Start even if you're scared. But for the love of the man you could become, just start. No more maybe later. No more when life calms down. No more self-betrayal disguised as patience. This is your reset. This is your wake-up call. This is your moment to rise. And you'll be shocked how much can change in just 90 days when you finally stop negotiating with yourself and start moving with ruthless consistency. Let the next 90 days be a comeback story. The one that changed everything. Fire comment, I'm in if you're ready to go all in on yourself. No turning back. 2. Audit your life like a man with a mission. So you've accepted the call. You've stopped waiting. You've chosen to move, to rise, to break the cycle of hesitation. Now what? Now, you stop living by default and start living by design. Because raw action without direction is just motion. It's sweat without meaning. Effort without evolution. This next step isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's radical honesty, and most men run from it their entire lives. But not you. Because you're not here to be busy. You're here to be effective. And that begins with this. You must audit your life. Take a hard, unfiltered look at the current landscape of your existence. Not the highlight reel you show online. Not the version you tell your friends. Not even the story you've been telling yourself to sleep better at night. The real version. The raw data. You are the architect. But no architect builds without first surveying the terrain. You can't fix what you refuse to see. Break your life into pillars. Health. Wealth. Relationships. Mindset. Purpose. Discipline. Time. Energy. Growth. Then, one by one, ask yourself, where am I lying to myself? Where am I pretending things are okay? Where am I coasting when I should be climbing? Where have I accepted mediocrity as if it's your destiny? And more importantly, what does the ideal version of this area look like? Paint it vividly. Be detailed. Be unreasonable in your clarity. And then, stand in the gap between where you are and where you know you're meant to be. That gap is your battlefield. That gap is the proof that the next 90 days aren't optional, they're necessary. Because if you're not living by clear intention, you're just drifting under the illusion of control. This isn't about guilt. This isn't about regret. It's about responsibility, and that's the ultimate freedom. You will not change what you will not confront. And no one else can audit your life for you. This is the work of a man reclaiming command of his future. So pull out a pen, a whiteboard, a digital doc, whatever you need, and begin. Draw the map. Health, am I proud of how I move, eat, sleep, breathe? Money, do I control it, or does it control me? Time, is it aligned with my values or hijacked by distractions? Purpose, am I living or just surviving? Don't overthink it. Don't delay it. This is your mirror moment. And here's the part most skip. Once you've done the audit, you choose your battleground. Pick the top 2 or 3 areas that hurt the most, the ones that have been quietly bleeding potential out of your life, and you turn them into your 90-day war zones. That's your focus. That's your mission. That's your reason to get up and move like a man possessed. Because clarity kills confusion. Clarity awakens courage. Clarity brings the kind of focus that turns a regular man into a force. And once you lock into that vision, every excuse, every distraction, every fake comfort loses its grip. So here's your next move. Stop pretending you don't know what's wrong. Stop hoping someone else will clean up the mess. Stop settling for average when your soul is screaming for more. Audit your life like a man with a mission. Like a man who finally realizes that his time is not guaranteed. Like a man who refuses to die with his potential still in him. The clock's ticking. Your future's waiting. And this is how you take the wheel. Write it. Face it. Own it. Then step into CTA 3, where your strategy gets built and your real momentum begins. Ready? Let's go. 3. Build your 90-day strategy like it's a blueprint to rebuild a man. You've looked in the mirror. You've stopped lying to yourself. You mapped the terrain of your life, raw, real, exposed. Now comes the part where most men drift again. They get the clarity, feel the fire for a few days, and then fade. Why? Because they had no plan. No direction. No daily structure. No strategy to transform clarity into execution. You don't need more motivation, you need a framework. A system you can follow even on the days when motivation disappears. Because it will. And that's when strategy becomes your weapon. So here's the shift. You don't just hope this 90-day journey works. You engineer it like a machine, like a blueprint for rebuilding a man from the ground up. Start with 3 areas you refuse to leave unchanged, not 5, not 10. Just 3. The essential 3. The ones from your audit that felt like a gut punch. These are your non-negotiables. Then break each one down with ruthless precision. What is the ultimate outcome I want in 90 days? What are the weekly checkpoints that prove I'm moving? What are the daily actions that must be repeated, no matter how I feel? Don't chase complexity. Chase clarity. Keep it simple enough to follow, but structured enough to eliminate guesswork. Let's say your focus is fitness. Don't write, I want to get in shape. Write, I walk 10,000 steps every day. I train 4 times a week. I follow a clean, no-nonsense meal plan. I sleep before 11 p.m. I track it daily. Now you're not chasing a goal. You're becoming a man who lives by principle, not impulse. And when emotions rise, as they always will, you don't debate. You don't renegotiate. You execute the plan because the plan is what leads you through the fog. This is Stoicism in action. Discipline over drama. Duty over dopamine. Let me make this clear. You don't rise by chasing results. You rise by becoming the man who does the work regardless of results. That's how change becomes identity. That's how short-term effort turns into long-term power. Now build your personal war map. Write down your 3 pillars. For each one, define your goal, your key actions, and your metrics. Make it visible. Print it. Paste it on your wall. Put it in your phone wallpaper. Because what is visible becomes actionable, and what is vague gets ignored. Do not leave it in your head. If it's only in your head, it's just another daydream. And here's where most men lose steam. They keep adjusting their plan when it gets hard. But you adjust your mindset, not your mission. You anchor into the plan like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. This is not about crushing it every day. This is about showing up, even when you don't want to. Because showing up is where momentum begins. And momentum makes the hard days easier, the good days great, and the man unbreakable. You are now building the operating system of your future self. Not based on hype. Not on emotion. But on clarity, structure, and brutal consistency. And if you still hear the voice in your head asking, "What if I fail?" Answer it with this. What if I never even try? What if I keep being the man who always quits on himself? Because failure isn't trying and missing. Failure is knowing you could have become more and choosing not to. So this is your next move. Build the plan. Work the plan. Honor the plan, even when no one's watching. The man you want to become isn't some mythical figure. He's the result of the small, boring, relentless actions you commit to starting now. And when you do this, when your strategy is clear and your actions are aligned, you don't hope for change. You become the change. Now it's time for the next phase, the one most men avoid. Shedding the weight of your past to free up space for who you're about to become. Get ready. 4. Let go of what no longer serves you, or stay chained to who you've always been. You've built the plan. The structure is there. The actions are defined. You now have a path forward that most men never even dare to map out. But there's one thing left, and it's heavy. It's not in the calendar. It's not on the to-do list. It lives inside your chest. It's the weight you carry from your past. And unless you deal with it, unless you face it, name it, and release it, you will spend the next 90 days dragging a version of yourself that doesn't belong anymore. You cannot build a new life with hands full of old pain. You cannot rise if you are still shackled to guilt, regret, shame, resentment. Or worse, the outdated identity that keeps whispering, "This is just who I am. This is how it's always been. I can't really change." That voice isn't truth. It's memory dressed in fear. Now is the time to confront it all. Not to dwell. Not to wallow. But to release, with precision, with purpose, with finality. So ask yourself, right now, what are you still holding on to that is silently sabotaging your rise? What beliefs? What stories? What old roles you played in someone else's script? What pain are you carrying that no longer belongs in your next chapter? It could be a failure you never forgave yourself for. A relationship that left you bitter. A habit you swore you'd break but never did, and now it feels like your shadow. Write it down. Name it. Get specific. Because what you name, you disarm. Let this be your personal ritual of release. You don't need permission to let go. You need courage. And here's the truth, letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means refusing to let the past dictate who you are becoming. It means you are no longer available for stories that keep you small. It means you stop rehearsing pain and start rewriting power. Some things won't fix. Some apologies won't come. Some wounds don't fully close. But they do stop controlling you the moment you decide they no longer define you. And this is that moment. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is focus, choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. Not because they deserve it. Because you do. Because there is a man inside you who is suffocating under the weight of who you used to be. And he is ready and begging for you to finally set him free. So here's your next bold move. Choose one thing, one story, one belief, one memory, and let it go today. Write it. Burn it. Speak it aloud. Scream it into a forest. Pray it out. Whatever it takes, release it from your system. And every day after that, keep asking, what am I carrying that's not mine anymore? What can I lay down so I can pick up what truly matters? Because in this 90-day transformation, what you let go of is just as important as what you build. And here's the paradox. You become stronger by surrendering the things that make you weak. This is the deeper discipline. The one they don't post online. The quiet war. The real growth. You've made space now. You've cleared the rubble. The foundation is set. 5. Craft your personal code. Discipline is the design of freedom. Now that you've let go. Now that you've burned the old blueprint and cleared the debris of your past. You're standing in rare territory, a space most men never reach. A space of clarity. A space of intention. A space of raw possibility. But clarity alone is not enough. Because the world is noisy. Because emotions are unreliable. Because even the best men drift without anchors. And that's why you must do this next. Write your personal code. Not a wish list. Not a someday manifesto. Not empty motivation. But a living, breathing set of principles that define how you move, how you decide, how you lead, even on the worst days. Because when pressure hits, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your code is your system. This is how you live like a man who doesn't need motivation. This is how you replace reaction with rhythm. This is how you build a life that doesn't need a reboot every time chaos shows up. So here's how it starts. Choose 5 core principles that matter to you more than comfort. Not what sounds good. Not what others preach. But what you know deep in your chest is the compass you've ignored for too long. It might be, I do not break promises to myself. I speak truth, even when it's inconvenient. I train my body because I respect it, not because I hate it. I guard my time like my future depends on it, because it does. I choose discomfort over regret. Write them. Etch them. Memorize them. Then, commit to living by them daily, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. Because that's where most men fold. They live by principles only when those principles are convenient. You are not here for convenience. You are here for command of your habits, your schedule, your presence, your direction. So make these 5 rules appointments with your future self. Block time each day for them. Treat them like non-negotiables. Not if I have time, but this defines who I am. And when you fail, because yes, you will miss sometimes, you don't spiral. You don't shame. You return to the code. Because the code is not about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about waking up each day not wondering, what should I do? But knowing, this is what a man like me does. And when life feels loud, when anxiety, distraction, temptation, chaos show up, you don't need to figure it all out. You simply return to the code. It becomes your reset button, your spine, your rhythm, your armor. And slowly, day by day, you become someone dangerous to anything that tries to knock you off course. Because a man with a code is a man who cannot be manipulated by emotion, opinion, or noise. This is not about control. It's about freedom through structure. The kind of freedom most people will never understand because they've never had the courage to create it. But you're not most people. You're building a life so solid, so self-owned, that others feel it before you even speak. And here's the deeper truth. When you live by your code long enough, you no longer chase confidence. You embody it. Because confidence doesn't come from what you say. It comes from knowing you'll show up when it counts, and especially when no one's watching. So today, carve your 5. Print them. Read them. Live them. Because they are not just guidelines. They are the rules of your rise. And once you have this internal compass, this code no one can take from you, you are ready to go one level deeper. 6. Declare your mission. Speak the words that will lead you home. You've written your code. You've defined how you move, how you respond, how you lead yourself. But there's still one piece missing. The one piece that ties all of this together. Because even with systems in place, even with structure and strategy, there will be moments when you wake up and forget why it all matters. There will be days when discipline feels dull, when effort feels empty, when the old version of you starts calling for one more round. And it's in those moments, in the quiet between breakdown and breakthrough, that you need something unshakable to return to. That's where your personal mission statement becomes your most powerful tool. Not for the world. Not for Instagram. Not to impress anyone. But for you. For the man in the mirror. For the version of you that remembers what this fight is for. Because you can have discipline. You can have vision. But without a reason, it's only a matter of time before the weight feels heavier than the reward. This isn't about hype. This is about meaning. So here's what you do. Write a statement that captures the essence of who you are committed to becoming. And why. A single sentence, no fluff. Clear. Clean. Potent. It might sound like this. I live each day with courage, clarity, and conviction to become a man my future children will be proud of, even if they never see the battle it took to build him. Or, my mission is to move with discipline and dignity, to outgrow the past, to outwork my weakness, and to outlast every excuse I've ever told myself. Or, I am the man who chooses hard things now so I never have to live with soft regret later. This is not about sounding poetic. It's about speaking something so real it cuts through the noise. Write it. Refine it. Let it evolve. But once it's real, speak it out loud every morning. Before the world pulls at you. Before your to-do list hijacks your attention. Before doubt gets a word in. Say it until it feels like armor. Say it until you can't forget it, even if you tried. Because a man who wakes up with a clear mission is not easily broken. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't chase applause. He moves with direction. He suffers with meaning. He grows with resolve. And that energy? That certainty? People feel it before you speak. Because men with purpose walk different. They breathe different. They fight different. This mission statement becomes your compass. When you're lost, it brings you back. When you're tired, it gives you reason. When you're tempted to quit, it reminds you of the fire you chose to build instead of waiting to feel. It's not just words. It's a commitment. To yourself. To your future. To the men around you who might never say it, but need to see what it looks like when someone finally rises. So craft the statement. Let it be brutal in its honesty and unshakable in its clarity. Then read it, speak it, live it, until your entire life aligns with it. And when it does, you'll realize you no longer need to find your way. You've become the man who knows exactly where he's going. Now that your why is written in stone, it's time to visualize it like never before. 7. Turn vision into visibility. Build the action board that keeps you hungry. You've declared your mission. You've spoken the words that anchor you. You've built a code, defined your principles, and made your values real. But now comes the part that will keep it all alive when the days feel foggy and the grind begins to blur your vision. Because even the strongest men forget. Even the most disciplined can drift, not from weakness, but from the sheer weight of everything they're carrying. And that's why you need a system not just for discipline, but for reminding your brain and body every day what you're fighting for. It's time to build your action board. Not a vision board. Not a collage of fantasies and vague dreams. But a tactical, visible, in-your-face map of what matters most, what you're building, and exactly how you're doing it. This is where you make your goals undeniable. No more wishing. No more hiding them in a notebook you never open. No more letting your mission get buried beneath the noise of daily demands. You're going to take everything you've written, your goals, your code, your mission, and turn it into a living map of daily action and long-term clarity. Here's how. Start with your 3 main targets for the 90-day mission. Not the result, but the daily actions and weekly checkpoints that move the needle. Then layer on visual cues. Charts. Progress bars. Calendars. Weekly reviews. Images that speak to the future you're building, not just for aesthetics, but as triggers. Because when the brain sees something repeatedly, it begins to believe. And when it believes, it begins to move in alignment, not by force, but by familiarity. You are rewiring your identity. Not by chance, but by design. Place this board where you see it daily. Your office. Your phone wallpaper. Your bathroom mirror. It becomes your morning reminder, your midday reset, your evening scoreboard. It tells you, this is what I said I would do. This is how far I've come. This is what's next. It removes doubt. It removes overwhelm. It replaces chaos with rhythm. And most importantly, it keeps the fire visible. Because when the work feels hard, when the emotions waver, when the world screams for your attention, you don't respond with motivation. You respond with clarity. A clear man is a dangerous man. A man who knows where he's going doesn't get distracted by shortcuts, applause, or other people's timelines. This action board isn't decoration. It's your daily dose of direction. It's the visual battlefield of your evolution. And here's the real magic. When you track progress visually, when you physically see actions stack and targets close in, you begin to experience real momentum. You stop asking, is this working? You start feeling it, living it, breathing it. Momentum is not luck. It's not motivation. It's measured movement. So start building it. Lay it out. Make it personal. Make it uncomfortable. Make it undeniably yours. Because in the quiet moments of doubt, it's not the hype that saves you. It's the systems you've made visible. This board isn't just a plan. It's proof that the man you're becoming is not a fantasy. He's in motion. He's being built brick by brick. And you are the one building him. Now that the road ahead is visible and tactical. In CTA 8, we set up the final gear most men ignore, the system of feedback and realignment, so you never drift silently again. Let's make sure your actions are not only consistent, but calibrated, refined, and always pointed true north. Let's keep building. 8. Build your feedback system, because real growth needs brutal mirrors, not just good intentions. Your action board is up. Your strategy is alive. Your vision is visible. You've declared where you're going, and you've made your map real. But here's the inconvenient truth most men avoid. You can't optimize what you don't measure. And more dangerously, you can't correct what you refuse to confront. This is where the good gets separated from the great. Because great men don't just act, they assess. They track. They review. They calibrate. They look themselves in the eye every 7 days and ask the hardest question of all. Am I truly moving forward or just staying busy? You need more than a plan. You need a mirror that doesn't flinch. That's what your feedback system becomes. It's not about judgment. It's not about shame. It's about building a rhythm of realignment. So you don't drift 6 months down the wrong path just because you refuse to check the compass. So here's how you build it. First, schedule a weekly review, no exceptions. Every 7 days, you sit down, just you and your mission, and you ask, where did I show up like the man I said I'd be? Where did I slip, stall, or sabotage? What did I learn about myself, my system, my strategy? What one action this week moved me forward the most, and what one held me back? No fluff. No filler. No pretending. If you're brave enough to be honest, this process will change your trajectory faster than any motivational video ever could. Because awareness is the first step to transformation, and weekly feedback sharpens that awareness like a blade. Second, implement an external feedback loop. This can be a mentor, a friend, a coach, or even a small group of men on the same path. Not to validate you. Not to cheerlead. But to challenge your blind spots, ask better questions, and call you out before your habits call you down. And if no one is available right now, then your journal becomes your accountability partner. Write it all down. What worked? What didn't? Why? What needs to shift? Because memory is soft. Emotion is deceptive. But paper tells the truth. This is how you stop being reactive and start becoming precise. This is how you evolve, not just with speed, but with accuracy. It's not about never failing. It's about failing forward, with data, with awareness, with adjustments. And here's what you'll find. Once you build this system, the shame of messing up starts to disappear. Because every misstep becomes information. Every stumble becomes strategy. You begin to understand yourself at a level most men never reach, not because you're perfect, but because you're paying attention. You are not here to blindly repeat actions. You are here to refine your edge. And the edge gets sharper every time you slow down long enough to ask, is this still working, or do I need to evolve? That question, asked consistently, is how a man becomes elite. So today, install the system. Pick your weekly review day and time. Choose your feedback method, journal, mirror, mentor. Set the questions. Lock the rhythm. Honor the ritual. Because a man with feedback becomes a man with foresight. And foresight is the beginning of real power. Now that your strategy is not only executed but evaluated, you're ready to face something few dare to touch. The noise that dilutes your progress, the information overload, the distraction culture, the addiction to digital escape. 9. Disconnect to reclaim focus. Cut the noise before it cuts your clarity. You've been moving. You've been building. You've been calibrating. But let me ask you something most men never slow down enough to answer honestly. When was the last time you were truly alone with your own thoughts, uninterrupted, undistracted, undiluted? Not just physically alone, but mentally present, emotionally available, spiritually anchored. Because no matter how powerful your mission is, no matter how precise your plan, no matter how solid your system, if your mind is scattered, your life will be too. And we're living in a world that profits off of keeping you distracted. Scroll after scroll. Click after click. Noise disguised as information. Stimulation disguised as progress. You can have vision, discipline, and direction. But if your attention is fractured, none of it will hold. This is where most men get stuck without even realizing it. They're not lazy. They're not weak. They're just mentally fragmented because they've never learned the discipline of silence. That's why this next step isn't optional. It's essential. It's time for digital disconnection, not as an escape, but as a strategy. You need to reclaim your cognitive space. You need to detox the noise. You need to give your nervous system a fighting chance to hear something deeper than dopamine. Here's how it works. Start simple. Commit to 1 hour a day or 1 full day a week of deliberate digital silence. No phone. No notifications. No news feeds. No noise. Use that time not to numb out, but to go inward. Read. Journal. Walk. Think. Pray. Meditate. Create. Reflect. Do the things that sharpen your edge instead of softening your attention span. Because in those quiet spaces, something remarkable happens. You start hearing yourself again. Your thoughts slow down enough to become useful. Your priorities come back into focus. Your body resets. Your nervous system thanks you. And slowly, your inner clarity becomes louder than the outer chaos. Most men are addicted to distraction because they're afraid of what they might hear in the silence. You won't be one of them. You're not here to drown your potential in pixels. You're here to reclaim your mind as sacred territory. Because when your attention belongs to you again, so does your power. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about becoming a man who isn't ruled by impulse. A man who can sit in stillness and hear his own convictions. A man who doesn't reach for his phone every time discomfort creeps in. That's real strength. That's real edge. So set the rule today. Pick your sacred hour. Or your sacred day. Name it. Schedule it. Defend it. Let it be non-negotiable. Let it be a sanctuary in your week. Let it become the place where you recalibrate, not just your actions, but your identity. Because clarity is not found in more content. It's revealed in less noise. And once you begin to taste the clarity that silence gives you, you'll wonder how you ever functioned without it. You'll realize that your creativity, your decisions, your energy, they've been there all along, buried under a feed you didn't need. This is where you begin to lead your mind instead of follow it. Now that your inner world is no longer hijacked by chaos, you're ready to take back something even more powerful. Your time, your energy, and your standards by learning to say no without guilt and cutting what doesn't align without apology. 10. Say no with precision, cut what doesn't align, and make space for what truly matters. You've created space in your mind. You've unplugged from the chaos. You've reconnected with what's real, what's true, and what's yours. But now you face something far more subtle. Something that still steals your time, bleeds your energy, and weakens your edge. It's not social media. It's not the news. It's not even technology. It's overcommitment. It's the chronic addiction to saying yes to things that don't serve you, don't grow you, and don't belong in the life you're building. And let's be honest. Most men don't burn out from doing too much hard work. They burn out from doing too many irrelevant things. Things they agreed to out of guilt, out of fear, out of habit, out of a need to be liked, needed, or busy. But busyness is not progress. Obligation is not alignment. You can have the perfect strategy, the clearest vision, the strongest mission. But if your calendar is full of commitments that pull you away from your core priorities, you will not win. Because clarity requires space. And space requires elimination. This is the art of the not-to-do list. It's the spiritual discipline of subtraction, cutting out what doesn't move you forward, so you can finally protect the few things that truly do. So here's your move. Write down every single recurring commitment in your week. Every meeting. Every social hangout. Every task you said yes to. Then ask, one by one, does this align with my 90-day mission? Does this protect my energy or drain it? Would the man I'm becoming say yes to this? If not, it goes. No debate. No explanation. No guilt. This isn't about being rude. It's about being ruthless with what matters. Because the man you're building isn't available for half-hearted obligations. He's not here to carry dead weight out of politeness. He's not available for people-pleasing disguised as loyalty. Your freedom will be defined by what you're willing to walk away from. So say it out loud. I do not owe anyone my energy simply because they asked for it. I do not apologize for protecting what matters. I say no to anything that pulls me away from the man I've committed to becoming. Let this become a filter, not just for your schedule, but for your life. Not every invitation needs a response. Not every opportunity is aligned. Not every relationship deserves proximity. And when you learn to say no with clarity, not bitterness, you regain the most precious resource you have. Attention with purpose. That's how you move from scattered to surgical. From diluted to dialed in. Because the world is full of loud distractions and shiny requests. But your mission doesn't care about noise, it only responds to focus. So make the not-to-do list today. List what you will no longer tolerate. No more late-night scrolling. No more pointless meetings. No more emotional labor in toxic relationships. No more reactive decision-making. Draw the line. Own the space. Honor the mission. And watch how your energy, your mood, your results all elevate. Because clarity is not just what you pursue. It's what you are willing to eliminate. And now that you've mastered subtraction, you're ready for the highest level of internal evolution. Radical ownership. In CTA 11, we step into the mindset that refuses to blame, refuses to wait, and refuses to give power to anything outside of your own response. This is where emotional maturity meets masculine power. Let's go there. 11. Extreme ownership. Stop explaining. Start owning. Shift everything. Now that you've cut the clutter. Now that your time belongs to you again. You're standing in front of a mirror that no longer blinks, no longer flinches. And it's asking a question that will define the man you become next. Are you ready to own everything? Because here's the truth. You will never rise above the level of responsibility you are willing to take. Not just for your wins, but for your weaknesses. Not just for your plans, but for your reactions. Not just for your life, but for your mindset. This is the arena of extreme ownership. And most men will never enter it. Why? Because it leaves them nowhere to hide. There's no one to blame here. Not your past. Not your boss. Not your parents. Not your partner. Not the economy. Not your genes. In this space, everything is yours, your actions, your outcomes, your energy, your reactions, your beliefs. And that's what makes it terrifying and liberating. Because once you stop outsourcing responsibility, you stop outsourcing power. This is the ultimate shift. From victim to creator. From reactor to driver. From why is this happening to me? To what am I going to do about it? Let this sink in. You cannot control every event in life. But you can always control your interpretation, your response, and your next move. And that's where your real power begins. So the question is no longer, what did they do to me? The question is, what do I choose to do now? You begin taking ownership in every area of your life. Your health, yours. Your discipline, yours. Your emotions, yours. Your goals, yours. Your distractions, still yours. Even your pain, still yours to process, learn from, and grow beyond. You stop saying, I had no choice. And you start saying, I made a decision, and now I'm making a better one. You stop asking for motivation. You build a life that doesn't need it. You stop hoping someone else will show up to lead you. You become your own leader. This is not about self-blame. This is not about being perfect. It's about taking the one position in life that cannot be stolen from you. Total, unshakable, relentless ownership of who you are and who you're becoming. It means that even when life hits hard, you respond instead of react. You adapt instead of collapse. You extract lessons instead of stacking excuses. Every situation becomes data. Every obstacle becomes training. Every failure becomes refinement. And now, instead of asking for easier roads, you become the man who builds stronger legs. So here's what you do today. Start by identifying one area of your life where you've been playing small, making excuses, or waiting for something outside of you to change. Then ask the only question that matters. What part of this is my responsibility, and what action can I take right now? Write it. Own it. Act on it. Even if it's uncomfortable. Especially if it is. Because when you get in the habit of owning everything, something extraordinary happens. You become unshakable. Not because nothing touches you, but because nothing controls you. This is the posture of a man who doesn't need external permission to lead, build, or evolve. This is the mindset that separates force from noise. This is how you move from potential to power. And now that you've taken full ownership of your choices and outcomes, you're ready to change not just what you do, but who you believe you are. 12. Redesign your identity. Become the man who no longer needs to try to change, because he is the change. You've taken ownership. You've dropped the excuses. You've stopped explaining and started executing. But even the most powerful plan, even the sharpest strategy, even the most disciplined rhythm, will eventually crash into the one wall few men ever dare to question. The outdated identity they're still living from. Because here's the truth no one tells you. You will always act in alignment with the kind of man you believe you are. Not the one you're trying to become. If deep down, you still see yourself as inconsistent, you'll sabotage consistency. If deep down, you still think you're not that guy, you'll hesitate in moments that require boldness. If deep down, you believe discipline is unnatural for you, you'll always need motivation to force yourself to act. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a strategy problem. This is an identity problem. So what do we do now? We stop trying to force change, and we begin to embody it from the inside out. This is where you write a new story. Not a fantasy. Not a slogan. A clear, visceral definition of the man you are choosing to be, starting now. Here's your task. Write a detailed description of the man you will be 90 days from today. Not in goals, not in tasks, but in being. How he thinks. How he speaks. How he trains. How he leads. How he walks into rooms. What he tolerates. What he absolutely refuses. Don't write about what he wants. Write about who he already is. Let this become your daily declaration, a sacred description of your next level self. Then speak it out loud. Every single morning. not as an affirmation, as an instruction manual for how you're going to live. And slowly, as you take action aligned with this identity, you stop needing to try to change. You start living as the man who has already changed. This is not fake it till you make it. This is act it until it's true. Because every consistent action reinforces your new identity like bricks in a fortress. And when setbacks happen, because they will, you no longer say, I failed. You say, that's not who I am anymore. You course correct faster. You recover with integrity. You return to your standard without shame. This is how real transformation happens. Not by chasing new habits, but by upgrading the self-image from which those habits emerge. This is the final shift. From acting like the man you want to be, to becoming the man you already are. Not someday. Not later. Now. So ask yourself one last time. Who am I when no one's watching? What story am I repeating, and what story am I rewriting? Who do I refuse to be from this day forward? And who am I now choosing to become, on purpose, with precision, and without apology? Because once you answer that, truthfully, fully, and fearlessly, everything else becomes execution. This is not the end of a 90-day challenge. This is the beginning of a new man. A man built by clarity, forged through discipline, refined by action, anchored in purpose, and elevated through identity. You no longer need permission to rise. You are the proof that change is real, and it starts from within. Welcome to day 1 of the rest of your life. Final conclusion: discipline is the quiet, ruthless commitment to who you said you'd become. It's not the good days that define your path. It's the hard ones. The days when you're tired. The days when motivation is gone. The days when every part of you wants to pause, slow down, or quit. But you don't. You show up anyway. You execute anyway. You honor your code anyway. And that is the moment everything changes. Not because it feels good, but because you've decided that your actions are no longer dictated by feelings. Discipline is not loud. It doesn't beg for applause. It doesn't need a crowd. It's the quiet, steady vow you make to yourself. To not break your word, even when no one's watching. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. You need commitment. You need to stop negotiating with weakness and start honoring your mission with every small, deliberate move. Because change is not an event. It's a daily choice. It's not something you hope for. It's something you become. Starting now. Call to action: it's time to review, refine, and rise. Do not just finish this journey. Integrate it. Let it shape how you think, how you move, how you lead. You have the tools. You have the map. You have the system. Now is the time to refine your stoic operating system and commit to the next level with precision. Search your routines. Audit your decisions. Strengthen your weak spots. Double down on your anchors. This is not the end. This is the upward spiral, where every cycle builds a stronger version of the man you're becoming. Write this moment in your mind as the line you never cross backwards. Today, you stop trying to change. Today, you own the transformation. Type the word START to receive the complete, structured, battle-tested 90-day Stoic System PDF. 1 page. 1 mission. 1 man. This is where it begins, for real.